Rebellions are built on hope.
Incoming transmission. Radio Rebellion.
Welcome to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. How are you guys doing? I'm your host, Alberto Calderon. As always, thank you for being here. Another wonderful Saturday evening, or whenever it is you guys are watching this or listening to this. Hope you guys have a nice day. It's been a good day today out here where I'm at in Florida. Not too hot. It's a little cloudy, windy, nice weather. It's good to be outside. Been doing a lot of reorganizing in the house. As you can see, my background is a little bit different. Move all my Funko Pops on this side now. They're off camera. You can see them. They're over there. There they are. They're still around. Got my helmets back here so you can look at them a little bit better. Let me take this off. There you go. Look at those helmets. They're so pretty. And then, of course, I was able to move in this painting of Boba Fett, a friend of mine, one of my ex-co-workers I used to work with. He made that for me. So yeah, Boba Fett now he's front and center as he should be. So yes, thanks for being here as always. It's been a quiet week for Star Wars fans. Not a lot of news. We're all waiting for a little bit over a week, May 4th, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. When we're getting Bad Batch. The Bad Batch is coming out in a little bit over a week. So then that's gonna take over all Star Wars news for the most part. We get a few excerpts from a few books, more for Throne Ascendancy, Greater Good, that's coming out next Tuesday also. So there's a few new excerpts out there. There's an excerpt for one of the new High Republic books also. So there's a few things going on, mainly Star Wars publishing. But apart from that, pretty quiet in the news front. But that's fine because we're talking publishing today. We're doing finally our review of Star Wars Victory Prize and Alphabet Squadron novel by Alexander Fritz. I gotta say, the cover for all three Alphabet Squadron books have been outstanding. I love the art. I should have checked who the artist was, but this one, especially Shadowfall, the cover for Shadowfall, it's incredible. It's probably one of my favorites out there. And then, of course, the Alphabet Squadron one was pretty nice also, but Shadowfall, Victory Prize, those covers, even if you don't like reading Star Wars books, just buy it for the cover, have it out there. Even the spine are pretty nice. So yeah, how are you guys doing? What has been your week in Star Wars? What have you guys done? Oh, just let me know in the comments whenever. All right, so if you're watching this, as always, please make sure to like the video. Make sure get out there, get more faces in. Leave us a comment what you think about the show, about Victory Prize, anything Alphabet Squadron, the whole trilogy. Let us know what you thought about it. Are you looking forward to any of the other publishing books that are coming out, especially Throne, Greater Good, which we'll be covering in a few weeks? And then subscribe. As always, subscribe. We got a few extra new subscribers, I should say, last week. So thank you guys for joining the show. And everyone following us on Twitter. So again, follow us there, Instagram, YouTube, wherever. And next week is our big show. It's our special show, I should say. It's going to be our mid-season finale. Our mid-season finale, we're going to do our watch party of Revenge of the Sith. I can't wait for that. We got some great guests coming in a Galaxy Pause, 50 minutes. Who else? Triad of the Force is going to be here. Oti of the podcast, the Star Wars is going to be here. We're going to have a lot of fun next week, so make sure to tune in for that. Then we're going to take a 2-week break, like I said. What is that? Like I said, it's our mid-season finale, so we're going to take a 2 minutes. I'm trying to talk. A 2-week break, and when we come back, most likely our first show will be, of course, recapping some of those first episodes of the Bad Batch, and most likely doing a review of the Throne book, Greater Good. So yeah, I think that's it. today's gonna be an easy show. We're just gonna talk Victory Prize. Should be pretty laid back as always. So thank you guys for being here. So if you guys are ready, I'm ready. Let's talk Star Wars. And like I said, we are talking Victory Prize, our spoiler review of Alexander Freed's last book in the Alphabet Squadron trilogy. Man, I can't. Let me take a sip of water. My tongue is not working. I'm like Jar Jar Binks when he walks into those beams. My tongue is swollen. My tongue is swollen. I can't talk today. Give me a minute. All right. So Victory Prize. So this, like I say, is in the Alphabet Squadron trilogy with the self-titled Alphabet Squadron book. It took place right after the Battle of Endor, after the second Death Star is destroyed. There's still some remnants of the Empire that are still, the Emperor's dead, but we're still trying to deliver the message. There's the Emperor Messenger that you saw in our graphic there. He's still out there trying to do Operation Cinder. And then it covers, I think, about a year by the end of this trilogy. I think it's been about a year since the destruction of the second Death Star. And it follows, of course, our 5 heroes, quote-unquote heroes of Alphabet Squadron, trying to destroy one of the remnants of the Empire called Shadow Wing, the 204th wing of TIE fighters called Shadow Wing. And Yrica Quell, one of our main protagonists of the series, used to be part of the 2004th, defected from the Empire. She was told by Soran Keyes, her commander, hey, the war is done, just defect, there's nothing here for you. She joined the New Republic, started being manipulated a little bit, and then became part of Alphabet Squadron. By the end of the first book, was the leader of Alphabet Squadron. And of course, by the end of Shadowfall, I'm sorry, this is spoiler for all of Alphabet Squadron. At the end of Shadowfall, all her secrets were revealed, that she had been part of the Empire, that she was part of Operation Cinder, and they didn't want anything to do with her. Chaz, Kairos, Nath, Wyl Lark, our boy Wyl Lark. Wyl was a little bit more understanding, but they didn't want anything to do with her. They didn't want her to join them in the final battle. And then after she did a few things trying to help from the main starship, she took off, actually tried to save, I forgot his name, Aidan Cairn, and ITO, my boy ITO, that tortured psychiatrist droid. And then she found a Sith temple, got a ship, and then hightailed it back to Soran and Shadow Wing. And that's basically where Shadowfall ended. Our group was destroyed. So let's get on it. Like always, I do my written review on my website, radiorebellionpodcast.wordpress.com. So you can read it there. I'm going to read from there real quick. And then I'll interject a few extra thoughts and then finish up with our rankings of Victory Prize. So, okay, like I said, so the war was at its end. Both sides knew it was inevitable. What toll would it take on its combatants? What prize will it claim once the dust settles? Victory Prize by Alexander Freed is the final chapter of the Alphabet Squadron trilogy that pins the New Republic's aptly named Alphabet Squadron, a hodgepodge of starfighters, against the well-trained but fleeting Imperial 2004 TIE fighter company known as Shadow Wing, and their quest to continue the late Emperor's final command. So yeah, again, this has been building up to this. It's that final fight between Alphabet Squadron and Shadow Wing, but they have Shadow Wing. It's a remnant of the Empire, but they have their own mission or their own plan. Soran Keyes and the other remnants of the Empire that are amassing in the Outer Rim regions, in the unknown regions, have two different views of what should be the future of the Empire. Soran Keyes, the Empire is not coming back. They're trying to bring it. So they have different views of what should be done with the New Republic and what's left of the Empire. So it's pretty cool to see that dynamic. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about it as we go on. So at the end of the previous book, Shadowfall, an Alphabet Squadron novel, Yrica Quell had abandoned her new team and friends and rejoined her old commander Soran Keyes and the 2004th Wing. what remains of Alphabet Squadron is a group that is broken, divided, and although seemingly winning the war, still questioning what it's all for. If we continue chasing and fighting the remnants of the old empire, are we just creating martyrs and others will see the New Republic as just another version of the ruthlessness that had just been dethroned? So even though this group of four now that Yrica Quell is gone, Chaz, Kairos, Nath Tenset, and Wyl Lark all have different views of the war that they're fighting. For Wyl, it's any life that he takes, it's the worst thing ever. He sees that, and I'm gonna mention again, he sees that person at the end of that TIE fighter as a person, not as a villain, as a adversary. He sees as he's taken a life. For Nath, he used to be part of the Empire, defected before Endor, I think before the first Death Star, joined the rebellion, then the New Republic. Now he's part of New Republic intelligence, so he knows what needs to be done. Chaz still wants to go in that blaze of glory, and Kairos is just trying to figure herself out because at the end of the last book, she was destroyed, basically. So everyone has a different version, a different view of how the war is going. At what end? What's the end of this? So are we just killing all these Empire people that are trying to flee, they're trying to live their life now, and we're just building another empire, basically, just an army out there that people are just going to be afraid of. So a military machine that people are going to be afraid of, or we're trying to build something new. So it's a cool dynamic that Alexander Freed was playing with. So like I mentioned before, for Soran Keyes, it's not much about rebuilding the empire as it is saving his pilots and making sure that once the New Republic wins the war, which is he truly believes is going to happen. So he's pretty certain. We know this since Alphabet Squadron, since the first book. That's why he told Yrica Quell, hey, we lost here. Just go defect, see if they'll take you in because the Empire is through. So it's cool that even though he knows the war is over, that the Empire is not coming back, he's doing it for his comrades, for his pilots. That's the people he's trying to save, because he doesn't believe that the New Republic is going to treat them fairly. So before we keep going, let me say hi to our friend Tony, Mr. Rez. How you doing, Tony? Thanks for joining us on our review of Alphabet Squadron Victory Prize. Thanks for being here, Tony. It's always nice when we're joined by you. So yeah, I was saying that for Soran Keyes, he believes that once the New Republic wins the war, it cannot and will not hunt down any surviving Imperials. That's what he's trying to do. He had no hopes of the New Republic treating any Imperial that surrendered themselves fairly. And there's a quote that he says that is, can the rebels judge the fates of their enemies fairly? And that's a very cool point, because we're all thinking about, just surrender, just have the Empire surrender and we'll take you in. But are they going to be treated fairly by the rebels who are trying to build this New Republic? And for them, everyone is on the same plane. Everyone is as bad as the Emperor. You killed our friends. The Death Star destroyed Alderaan. And if you go back, then you have Scarif and all that stuff. So can the New Republic judge their enemies fairly? And that's a fair question for Soran Keyes to ask Yrica Quell when he's talking about her time with the New Republic. She didn't give out too much information, didn't say she had become part of Alphabet Squadron. So it's an understandable question that he poses. Can the New Republic treat their enemies fairly? If they capture any Imperials, if they defect, can it be? Look who's here. Haven't seen him in a while. Could it be Al? It's our friend Michael, the 2med2 Star Wars Network. How you doing? Thanks for being here. It's been a while. Nice seeing you again. So then we have so the Alphabet Squadron trilogy definitely highlights the war in Star Wars, right? And Victory Prize is filled with the types of space battles we look forward to when watching the Star Wars movies. Freed does a great job writing one-on-one dogfights. We have a battle between Wyl Lark and Soran Keyes in A-Wing against TIE fighters. We also have Soran versus Yrica Quell at the end. So he does a great job showing those battles, letting us know every twist and turn that their starships made, and especially the toll that it takes on the vehicles, as well as the physical and emotional toll each confrontation has on the pilots. Um, so yeah, that's one thing that I really liked about reading Victory Price. If you've seen my tweets about it, you might think that there's some parts of this book that I didn't like. It's a very good book, especially if you like the war aspect, all the space battles. It's something I do like, but I think there's too much. Again, that's the book. Anyway, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit. What I'm trying to say was, I love the way that Alexander Freed let us know how much physical toll it takes to pilot these ships, and every time a hit comes, even if it's skids of the energy shield, or they take a quick turn, it makes you feel like the pilots inside, especially if they've been flying for hours trying to battle each other. You start to feel all the tension that the pilots are having, that our characters are having, and how every shot that they take is affecting them physically. We think, oh, they're in the ship, they're fine. The X-wing or Wyl's A-wing takes a blaster bolt, he's fine inside. No, it's shaking inside. He's hitting the canopy. It's a mess in there because all of those ships have been taking a toll all these through all these three books. So it makes you feel that those pilots are suffering inside each ship. So it's very cool for Alexander Freed to let us know this. And then Michael is saying that he really liked the book, best of the three for him. If I'm not mistaken, did you like the first one? I want to say that maybe you weren't too into the first one, but cool to hear that it was your favorite one. I don't know. I don't know where it would rank on my Alphabet Squadron 1 to 3 list. I'm not sure yet. I think Shadowfall may be my Shadowfall. I don't know. They're all good for different reasons. So, like I said, great one-on-one battles, but don't worry, there are massive space battles also. Soran and Shadowwing are still following the Emperor's messenger and trying to bring Operation Cinder to other worlds. But this time, like I mentioned, he's not trying to follow the Empire and rebuild the Empire. This time it's worlds. He's trying to do Operation Cinder on worlds that are still occupied by Imperials. But these are not loyalists. These are traitors, according to him, that didn't join the remnants of the Empire when Grand Admiral Sloane called them to join at the end of Shadowfall. So even though he sees them as traitors because they didn't want to join, that's not his end goal. He doesn't want to join them and try to build a new empire. He's doing things, like I mentioned before, for his pilots, for his Shadowwing fleet. But if you didn't join one way or the other, he's going to your planet when you're trying to hold off and just shooting you down. So Soren Keyes, not a very good person. Great commander, great pilot. Not a great person. He's killing everyone. So we also get to explore another side of the Battle of Jakku, which was explored in Chuck Wendy's Aftermath trilogy, and of course in The Force Awakens. So The Force Awakens showed us the Star Destroyer graveyard, and here we get to see how many of those battleships ended up on the desert planet. Thanks for being here, Michael. We gotta go back to work. We understand. Thanks for joining. Always a pleasure. Thank you. So yeah, it's great to see another side of the Battle of Jakku, how all those starships ended down there. So basically, almost everything that was left from the Empire, all those remnants, we keep saying that we're trying to build something, we're hiding up in Jakku, and that's where the last battle was going to take place. Soran didn't want to go there. He ended up going, but then he had for his little Shadowwing, and then to deal with Hera. So, yeah, like I said, Hera, let's talk about Hera real quick. So, it's up to the New Republic's General Hera Syndulla and her retrofit Star Destroyer, the Deliverance, to stop them. I love Hera in Star Wars Rebels, and I love Hera in Victory Price. Hera, Alexander Freed did a great job writing Hera. A little bit of her in Shadowfall. She takes a brunt of the book here in Victory Prize, and she's great. Hera, that's why she's one of our favorites, one of the fans' favorite characters out there in Star Wars. She still sees herself as part of the rebellion, but knows what is needed to run a new government. And right at the beginning of the book, first 2 or 3 pages, she has a great quote. She's talking to our other friend, Admiral Akbar. She's saying, only rebellions thrive on hope. Republics need sturdier foundations. And we see it. Rebellions are built on hope, right? Our show, we always keep saying the rebellion and hope. That's our thing. Our message in Star Wars, my favorite thing about Star Wars is that message of hope, starting with Luke Skywalker. But rebellions thrive on hope, hope that things are going to get better. If you're trying to build a republic, try to build something new, you can't just be hoping out there. You have to have strong foundations. And Hera, who else is going to say that? She's been here since the beginning. Hera commands, pun intended, every scene that she's in. She's earned her position as a true rebellion leader and an architect, a true rebellion leader and architect, and now is helping build a new republic. But again, she's been in the fight for so long that she's now looking at the end of her time in the Thrones of War, because she's got a child. She's got to raise that Jason Syndulla. So what was it all for? If she can't raise her child without having to worry about the next battle. I said Hera has been in this since the beginning, part of building the rebellion, now building the new republic. Her time in the battle is coming to an end. She wants to be able to basically retire, go raise her family without having to think about where the next battle is. So great for Hera to be able to do that by the end of the book. Wyl Lark. Oh man, our boy Wyl Lark. So we all love Wyl. He's a good soul, that Wyl Lark. We're all gonna miss him. He didn't die. He's still out there. We're gonna miss not reading more about him, but who knows? Maybe we get a Wyl Lark spin-off. We don't know. He's working. He's doing some stuff. So Wyl Lark is not a killer. Never was, never will be. He joined because he wanted to save people. He always saw the next battle as his last one. He was the last of the 100 from the world that he came in. I forgot the name. He was the last one. He just wanted to go home. I think that's what they called it, home. He just wanted to go back. It's always one extra battle for Wyl because he needed to save someone at the other end. The big issue between him and Nath Tensor at the end of Shadowfall, Wyl was reaching out to Shadowwind, trying to have a breakthrough with them, have a human-to-human connection, trying to say, what you guys are doing is wrong. We're just killing each other. We gotta stop that. And Nath didn't want any part to do with it. But here, Wyl is still. They still don't see eye to eye, and Wyl is still trying to save everyone, as much people as he can. So he has done more than has ever been asked of him, and he has reached the end of the line. He sees a person at the end of every ship his A-Wing destroys, and is tired. He believes that the enemy on the other side feels the same way, and he won't be part of the final battle. At least not jumping on an A-Wing and blowing stuff up. He will still help and save as many lives as he can. So when they get to Jakku, to that final battle, even before then, there was a lot of tension, but Alphabet and the New Republic was communicating with Shadowwing. There wasn't any fighting. They couldn't fight. They get to Jakku, and there's this open channel because that's the only way. This planet that they're trying to do Operation Cinder, there's a lot of radiation. So if you open a channel, it's going to be open for everyone. So they were communicating back and forth, and it seems to start forming a bond. So by the time that final battle at Jakku comes, Wyl is, I'm not going to keep doing this. I've done as much as I can for the New Republic, for the rebellion. Like I said, he's not a killer. He's not just going to go and shoot everyone down because they're flying a TIE fighter. So he's done with it. But he still wants to save people, so he stays in the Star Destroyer in the Deliverance, trying to help as many as he can from that side. And then, if you read the book, you know what happens to him. He gets into a fight. I forgot her name. Blink, I think it is, that we met in Shadowfall. She made it into the Deliverance, tried to blow it up from the inside. They got into a fight. But then he was able to get out in a an escape pod. It's great that final battle because we got the ghost. Hera got into the ghost, got out of there. So yeah, Ghost makes a quick, brief cameo there. Chasna Chadwick and Kairos. A lot of the book or their story, they're together. Chas and Kairos, they go after Quell when she shows up, or when she's been there. When she announces herself, they go after her. So Chas and Kairos are together a lot through this book, and it's great. One of my favorite parts about the book is that halfway point when Chas and Kairos go to get Quell, and then what happens in Kairos' home world. So Chasna Chadwick and Kairos are still suffering from their personal defeats in Shadowfall, and it carries over to their growth in this book. Chas still doesn't feel part of any group she has ever joined and thinks that she will just be thrown aside at any moment, still wanting to go down in a blaze of glory during an epic battle, and her wish might finally be granted. I thought, again, spoilers, I thought she might bite it. I thought she might die in the Battle of Jakku. She always talks about Jean Erso and what Jean Erso did on Scarif, talks about the Battle of Endor, everything. She wanted to be a martyr, or almost die in one of those big epic battles that meant something, not just destroyed in a cargo run, in a big battle. And I thought I was this close to thinking that she was gonna eat it at the end of the Battle of Jakku, but no, Kairos saved her. Kairos, I love Kairos, man. She was my favorite character throughout the whole trilogy, apart from ITO. I miss ITO. We learn a lot more about Kairos' past, her beliefs, her planets, the way her people see the world, actually two worlds, and the pureness she didn't believe she held anymore since her protective armor and coverings were removed at the end of the final book. So Kairos, when we met her in Shadowfall, she was this monster, basically, the way she's described, this cool black armor, a bunch of racks on top of her, just sniping people out when Chas was trying to escape. Her U-Wing, she destroyed everyone. And then unfortunately, by the end of Shadowfall, her ship is destroyed. They have to take her, put her on a med bay. They have to take all of her armor off. And here we learn that armor was just not protecting her as any sort of armor, was a cocoon, basically, that her people need in order to rejuvenate themselves and rebuild themselves. So her people believe that if you lose blood or give blood was very important to them, and if it was tainted in any way, you weren't pure anymore. And she needed that armor to kind of rebuild herself and build herself into this Kairos that we met. And by the end of that book, and then also in this book, she loses that. We go to her home planet. We see they're in those cave systems, in some caverns, and they find this. I thought they were idols, very similar to Into the Dark, that we see those idols, where it's out actually her people kind of shedding that outer shell and becoming new. And we learned that that's what her armor was, what her ship was. And when it was destroyed, also in this book, she loses all that. But by the end, she's gone. She had that connection with Quell because Quell had a connection with Kern Aidan and ITO from the first two books, that Kairos had escaped from the Imperial prison with them. And then they had a connection to Quell. So with them dead, Quell was the only connection to them for Kairos. So she held her very close till the end of the book, or to the end of her journey in this book for Kairos. It was great learning more about her. And for me, that I love that character, it was great to find out where she came from and the importance of that armor, where she didn't want anyone touching her, taking her armor off. But by the end, I think she's running almost naked in Coruscant, trying to find her next path. And I think Quell says if anyone can make it by themselves, it's going to be her. So love to see more from Kairos. Love to see more of her in this book. I would love to get more about her either before or after this. So like I said, for both their journeys, Chas and Kairos, they're tied to Yrica Quell's return to Alphabet Squadron. For Quell, it's not so much about redeeming herself for her actions during Operation Cinder, as she knows that what she did was wrong, but about trying to save others from that fate. Can a mass murderer be redeemed just because they helped save lives afterwards? That's something that we touched on a little bit last week, talking with Orsu Amin. We were talking about just the High Republic and redemption and a lot of that stuff. And we talked about, talking about Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. Is he redeemed at the end of Rise of Skywalker? He becomes Ben Solo of unfortunately for some of you guys out there, unfortunately for Ben Solo, he dies at the end of Rise of Skywalker after basically being redeemed, helping destroy the Emperor and saving Rey's life, bringing her back to life, but then he dies, so he doesn't get to live with the consequences of his actions. So is he really redeemed just because he did one thing and died? And I say that same thing for Darth Vader. We always say, oh, the redemption of Anakin Skywalker. Well, he's only been redeemed in Luke's eyes, maybe in Solo, and in Leia. For everyone else, Darth Vader is still this evil Dark Lord of the Sith that killed millions of people, basically. So he's not really redeemed in the Republic's eyes. So it's cool to see here Quell is not looking for that type of redemption. She was part of Operation Cinder. Can she be redeemed just because she helped destroy Soran Keys and the 2004? Or is there something more? Do you have to repent and have to do more than just do one good deed to say that you've been redeemed? So that's something that we see in this book, and by the end of it, she's still working on it. So hero of the New Republic, Nath Tenseth. Still not comfortable being called that, especially now that he's part of the New Republic intelligence. He helped save the day at the end of Shadowfall. He became a hero, got a bunch of medals, did the same thing here, but he's still that old pirate. Like I said, he used to be an Imperial, then joined the rebellion, then left to become a pirate, basically, then was hired by Aidan Cairn, and now he's still trying to figure out where he falls. He still looks out for Wyl Lark, but doesn't fully understand the boy and his determination to save everyone, including Shadowwing. So will Nath stay until the final battle is won or return to his pirate ways? And there's a point in this book during the Battle of Jakku. He's done more than he thought he was ever going to do. His Y-Wing, it's a wreck. His droid, is it R5 or Y5? It's something 5, I forget. They're just in a corner, basically just floating away. Let's just wait out the battle. There's nothing more we can do. And then by the end of the book, he's gone back to being a pirate, doing all this. I don't know if pirate is the right word, but just doing all this. He's a scoundrel, basically. Just doing all these odd jobs, trying to hire people. So he's gone back to that. And there's a few pages at the end when Wyl finds him and they have a talk. And Wyl's like, really, you're going back to this? Nath tried to recruit Wyl. Hey, we need a pilot. Let's work together again. But it didn't work out. So Nath is doing his stuff. But again, he saved the day countless times, even when he thought he wasn't going to. So, all right. So then, Victory Prize. It's not an easy read. I said it before. It's not an easy read. It's a pretty. Look at that. That's a thick book. That's 460 some pages. It took me a while. This is the book that the longest that is taken me to read a Star Wars book. And it's not because it's a bad book. It's not. It's not badly written. It's a great book. Alexander Freed did a great job writing this book. But it can be complicated to follow along if you are not a fan of naval battles. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of space battles. So one-on-ones and big cruiser-to-cruiser battle. There's a lot of stuff. It's huge, Mr. Rest. Tony, you're saying it. It's huge. Look at that. Look at that book. It's like it takes a while to get through it. And if you're not a fan of naval battles, because they can get repetitive, they can be complicated. Go 20 degrees this side. It's not an easy book to follow. I love space battles in Star Wars, but I might like them more on the screen than on the page. I said one of my biggest criticisms of the sequel trilogy is the lack of space battles. Yeah, there's something at the end of The Force Awakens over Skywalker, Starkiller base. It's not really a space battle. They're still over that Starkiller. There's a little bit at the beginning of The Last Jedi, but that's more a bombing run. So it didn't really feel like a space battle. Rise of Skywalker, very similar to The Force Awakens, just there over the atmosphere, no space battles. Give me Scarif, give me Endor, give me A New Hope. All those space battles are Revenge of the Sith. The beginning of Revenge of the Sith, one of my favorite space battles. So I missed that in the sequel trilogy. Translating it to books, to publishing, to reading, I don't know. Reading 400 pages of it can be taxing if you're not really into it. That was one of my things also with the Throne books. Those are even more complicated to follow. We have one coming on Tuesday, so we'll see how that goes. But if you like that part of Star Wars, you don't mind reading it, so Victory Price, get it. That's for you. A lot of people, like Michael said at the beginning, this is their favorite of the 3 Alphabet Squadron books. So there's a lot of fans out there for this type of reading, so go out there and get it. And if not, there's still great character work. All the 5, Wyl, Chaz, Nath, and Quell, are all great characters, all with different motivations, different reasons for, that's motivations, reasons for doing what they're doing. And just for that part, that's great. Space battles, that's when it lost me a little bit. We also get mentions of dozens of character names, fighter squadrons, and planets. Some are just mentioned to create the atmosphere and nothing else, but it still adds to the read. So we have Alphabet Squadron, Flare Squadron, Hail Squadron, Shadow Wing, Cinder, Operation Cinder, and this Commodore, and this other, and there's a lot of names. So it can get confusing. And that's, again, it adds to all the reading that if you cut down on that, maybe you knock down 50 pages of the book, it makes for an easier read. Again, that's just me. I'm being selfish. And on another selfish note, I miss my little torture droid, ITO. I love ITO. He was right there with Kairos in the first 2 books as my favorite character. He dies. If a droid dies, he was destroyed at the end of Shadowfall, a great battle with Quell. I missed him here. We do get a brief mention of him and a couple of paragraphs with Quell having an imaginary conversation with him that brought me back to that first and second book. But I did miss him. I did miss having that psychiatrist, torture droid out there, a psychologist. So in the end, Victory Prize is about the tolls that an overextended war can have on both sides of the conflict, is fighting to protect others from suffering the consequences of their action, a noble cause, is fighting to destroy every last remaining bit of the old ways, the best way to build something new. So the price is paid not just for the Republic, but for the people in it, rebels and Imperials. Whew. So yeah, that's Victory's Prize. Alexander Freed did a great job with this Alphabet Squadron trilogy, and it's a difficult topic. Again, you're covering a very important period in Star Wars, from the end of Return of the Jedi to about 1 year after. What happened? Because watching the movies back in '83 or whenever you watch them, the Emperor's destroyed, Second Death Star is destroyed, the war is over, yeah, we won. But then we learn, no, there's still a little more sporadic battles going on. How did it finally end it? And then this trilogy kind of helps out a lot filling those gaps. So Alexander Freed, just kicked my trash can. Does a great job with that. Again, it's a heavy book to get through, but it's a pretty good book. And I love the final chapter, I think it is, or final 2, like the last 20 pages. It's that price. That's the name, the price of victory. She shows us where Nath is, where Wyl is, where Chaz and Quell are. Kairos, we don't get to see her again. But we see, like I mentioned, Nath Tenzin is back doing his pirating ways. Wyl Lark is working with a reparation system, trying to help a lot of people out. Like that's what he does. Chaz and Yrica Quell get together. They had a fling in Shadowfall. By the end, there are a couple, they're together. So again, representation out there. We also find out that Wyl Lark also had a boyfriend, but they broken up. So great representation out there in Star Wars, being more inclusive and not making it just just put it out to put it. And what I really like I mentioned before, is for Yrica Quell having to deal with her actions. So she does get a pardon from Mothma and the New Republic, but she's not out there living the life. She can't vote, can't have any weapons, have some restrictions on what she can do. So she's still paying the price. She's not in prison, but she's still paying a price, and she's trying to slowly rebuild her life. I think her and Chaz are doing some medical runs, helping other people close. She can't go too out of the system. So it shows that having to deal with your actions that we didn't get with Darth Vader, and we didn't get, sorry, with Kylo Ren / Ben Solo. So we're seeing here Quell have to deal with her actions, and I really enjoyed that part. I would have loved this book more if the last third of the book was this, not just the last chapter. If 300, just make it a 400-page book, the first 300 pages are that big battle and everything, and then that last 100 pages is having to deal with the fallout of the war. I would have loved that a lot more. Didn't get to that, got a few pages and was pretty good. All right, so let's get to it. Let's get to our rating. So to start with our rating of Victory Prize, we have this story. So for story, we give it 4 probe droids. So yeah, again, it's a great story, great book by Alexander Freed. He did what he needed to do. He stick the landing, as they like to say, with this final book. The story is great. It does take a little bit to get through it, but story-wise, it's a good story to tell. So our next rating is for ease of reading, and you know where I'm going. So ease of reading, 3. I still gave it 3 because you can read it. It just takes a long time. It is a little bit taxing. Could have gone a little bit lower, but I still wanted to stay positive because I did finish the book. I didn't stop reading because I didn't like it. So 3 right there at the cutoff to being 2.5, but 3 for ease of reading. It's just a very heavy book, like I said before. Similar to Light of the Jedi, it's a very heavy book. But I think Light of the Jedi does a little bit better to explain what's going on and to follow the story a little bit more. All right, so new characters, and here there's really not a new character. It's just giving it 3 again. We get more with Soren Keys. We get a few new characters in Alphabet Squadron or with the New Republic. We get more with Hera. So again, 3, not a lot of new characters, but what we get is pretty good with them. Canon connections, gotta go high. So 4 probe droids for canon connection. It connects great with the other 2 Alphabet Squadron books. It gives you a quick recap at the beginning if you don't remember the first few books. Again, we have Hera. There's not mentioned, but there's references to Kanan, to General Syndulla. We have Akbar, Jakku, the Emperor's Messenger. So canon connections all over the place for probe droids. That was great. And then finally, we have expanding Star Wars. So we expand Star Wars 3.5 stars, 3.5 probe droids. Like I said, it gives us that time frame between the end of the Battle of Endor and what happens before everyone from the Empire just goes to the outer regions, to the unknown regions, sorry. So it does expand Star Wars in that way. It gives us the end of this story, a lot of great connections to Star Wars. We learn more. We also have a great mention of Wyl Lark seeing Luke burning Darth Vader's body. He doesn't know what it means. He knows it's something special. He doesn't know how to feel about it. Like, yes, Darth Vader is dead. Let's celebrate. At the same time, what is the hero, Luke Skywalker, burning him and looking pensive about it? He's not celebrating. So what's going on there? So it expands Star Wars in a pretty good way. So 3.5 probe droids. And now finally, for overall, so overall Victory Prize, I still give it a passing grade. 3.5 probe droids, good story, great canon connections, pretty okay new characters, a bit heavy to follow along, but overall 3.5 probe droids, closer to 3 than 4, but still good book. If you like the first 2 books, if you like the war in Star Wars, get it. If you like space battle, reading space battles, get this book. If you like Thrawn, and the way that book's written get this one. So overall, it's a good book. Alexander Freed, he's the guy. If you're writing a war book that has to do with battles, big ground battles, he did the Battlefront Twilight Company, I believe. I think he did one of the Rogue One books, and then here. So yeah, that's it. That's it for Victory's Prize, an Alphabet Squadron book, and our review. So what do you guys think about Victory Prize? Let us know in the comments or send me a message on Twitter or wherever. So I think that's it. That's it for our show. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks to Michael. Thanks to Tony for joining. Like I said before, if you're watching this in the replay, make sure to give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join us next week for a big Revenge of the Sith watch party, our last show for 2 weeks. And if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, make sure that you're also following that and leave us a rate and review. We'd like to read those from you guys. So thanks. And as always, stay safe, be safe. See you next week. And may the Force be with you.
Radio Rebellion.